We got lucky enough. We're here again with Brother of Powhatan, and I have threatened him with physical violence and segregation if he didn't tell his story, but he volunteered anyway because he's much stronger than me, and he's got a very vicious sounding dog. So, Brother of Powhatan, tell us about your story.
Well, my experience during integration, when before school was integrated, we had to ride the white bus. And I can remember the first day that myself and my three sisters got on the bus. The kids on there were yelling, "Pew," making these noises like, "Oh, they stink." And none of them would sit. If we sat down, they would get up and move to the back of the bus. And then riding to their school, they would throw spitballs and stuff like that. And then once we got to their school and they got off, then the bus driver would take us to our school. And the same thing, he would come over in the evening, pick us up, and we get back on the bus. And that went on until the year that they started integration. And then we had to go to the school in our county, the public school, which was a white school. And of course, by that time, we had made friends. We'd become friends with some of them, and some of them still were, they weren't as bad, but they still picked on you. And so I stayed in trouble a lot because I was always defending my sisters. And I can remember we were in the library, and one of the guys, my sister was sitting at a table, and he was over there talking trash to her. And she was asking him to leave her alone. And of course, the librarian didn't really push the issue. She would just tell him to stop, but never really forcefully made him stop. So I made it my mind that I was going to stop him. So I walked over to the podium where there was a big dictionary, and this dictionary was probably thick as a drawer. And I picked it up, and he was kind of leaning over the table on his elbows, and I just pounded him over the head with it, and I knocked him out. And I got suspended from school for 2 weeks. And I thought my dad was going to kill me, but my dad shook my hand and said, as long as you're protecting your family, you won't have any problem with me. And
wow.
That was
now your dad was Native, or your mom, or both?
Both.
Wow. Well, the thing I'd like to pick your brain on a little bit, if you don't mind, is Virginia is probably one of the better documented places for history. And through some meetings and stuff that I've sat in and listened, I heard that when the Europeans touched ground here, that you had full control over all of the Northern Neck, your people.
Yes.
And there were over 50,000 natives in Virginia alone. Every square inch was spoken for or utilized. People think, because they ask me all the time, well, you have cool looking arrowheads or whatever. Where do I go to find any of these artifacts? I said, just anywhere in the ground. Every square inch of this nation, this hemisphere, was spoken for just like it is today. There wasn't any inch left untouched.
And it wasn't just our people. There was a lot of natives that were traveling from different states going to Canada. And so we had the Iroquois come through here, we had Sioux come through here, and Mohawks, and some Tuscaroras, but it was mainly our people here during that time. And between the Rappahannocks, the Chickahominies, and the Pamunkeys, the Mattaponies. So, we were all, because all of us are close in area here.
Okay, now when you talk about the other tribes, just for the people overseas that aren't familiar exactly where we are, they're more south of you, right? You're centrally located in this neck?
Yeah.
And they're like down near West Point where the three rivers join?
Correct.
Yeah. So you would be more like the northern guardian. And were your people mostly fishermen, hunters, gatherers, or warriors?
They were a combination of all, but mainly we were fishermen and farmers. But we had warriors.
Okay. And I know you suffered a lot of invasions by the Senecas, which was our Iroquois. That's our western gatekeeper.
Right.
But they were just vicious in the fact, and I hope the Senecas don't hunt me down and hurt me, but we were Mohawks on the eastern gate, so we were well disliked too by any tribes that we were trying to keep off the Green Mountains of the Adirondacks. We just stood our ground, and they sent raiding parties to hunt, that I find out 1,000 years ago. So there's some tribes that still remember, oh, you're a daggum Iroquois Mohawk. You know, you people just don't have any conscience. You slaughtered these deer. And I was physically thrown off a reservation up in New Brunswick by an elder. And he says, I goes, well, what did they do? He says, they came on our land and killed 4 of our sacred buck. I said, well, you get me the names and I'll go back and make them pay for it. He says, well, how would I know the names? I said, you just told me the story. Why don't you know the names? He says, it happened 1,100 years ago. And I said, you know, maybe you want to get over it. I mean, I didn't kill your deer. I've killed 2 deer in my life, and both of them were with a car. You know, that's as close as I ever got. So, you know what I mean? It's like the Clampus and McCoy. Some of these, and the Seneca would be the same with you folks. This was part of their raiding territory. It wasn't necessarily their sacred hunting ground, but they didn't hesitate to come down and raid. That's why I asked if you had warriors.
Yeah.
But you're also primarily reed people too. You use the reeds for baskets and that. Yeah. We didn't.
We call it bull rush as well.
Yeah, and we didn't have as much of the reeds available to us. We had to buy them off the trading market, probably off of your ancestors.
Could have been.
And also, I was interested in the Indian Removal Act. How did you survive that? Because you're still here. You're not in Oklahoma.
Well, we weren't really affected, at least that I know of, we weren't really that affected by that part, because we were here, of course we were actually our people were on the other side of the river, here in Tappahannock, you know, where you went to. Well, our people, ancestry started over there, and we got moved over here.
Right.
So.
Because of the influx of new people coming, you don't like a big crowd. But also, weren't you considered black?
Oh yeah.
By the census?
Walter Plecker, who was in charge of the Census Bureau, he put down, he threatened the employees of the Census Bureau that there was no such thing as Indians. They were you either considered black or white.
Or Milano. Yeah. Because West Virginia had no Indians removed from West Virginia just before the Removal Act, or during the beginning when they were busy moving Cherokees and everyone else, you know, the creek to Oklahoma and Kansas. Mm-hmm. West Virginia saw this coming, and I wasn't there. This is a story that I got from them. They were so prosperous at the time with coal mining. You know, it's just like a gold mine. They didn't want to lose anybody, regardless, black, white, Indian, anything, Oriental. So they set out a new census, but all they listed was white, Milano, or black. Take your pick. So all the Indians signed up as Milano. You know, what else? You're not going to be black. You're in between.
Right.
So when the government came and said, we need to gather up all your Indians, they goes, well, we don't have any Indians in West Virginia. That's how they slipped by.
Wow.
So there was really none ever removed from West Virginia. And the culture still exists there, but it's like a secret society. I can't get them to interview. In fact, they get up and walk away when you start talking about Indians, and you know darn well. And because people that are around that work with them, oh, Indians? Yeah, this guy right here, the third guy down, is a full-blooded Indian or close. And you walk down and start talking to him. The minute you mention Indian, he gets up, walks away like he doesn't even know you. I'm thinking, wow. And there's another tribe in Louisiana that they were filthy rich plantation owners. They were the owners of these big plantations of cotton and tobacco and rice and whatever. And they saw it coming. So they went through and just got rid of everything that would possibly identify you as an Indian. They were living in regular white men's houses. They had that kind of money, built mansions and big plantations. And when a white man came, you know, says, well, we're hunting down and tracking down all the Indians. This whole section of Louisiana said, well, there's none that live here. You know, it's a very prosperous area, and we don't work them. We work mostly the blacks and the Cajuns and Creoles. Mm-hmm. and they stayed. They also won't interview. It's like a guarded secret. So, it still carries on today.
Yeah. Some things don't change.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
But so how many people would you say are in your nation now?
Actively, probably about 200 and something.
And she said you're gathering people again
Yeah,
because
a
the
lot of
people
people-
that went to Canada.
Yeah, a lot of people moved out of state, and families moved back during my parents' time because of jobs, because
Oh.
of racial issues.
Mhm.
So a lot of people moved away. Some of them went as Italians, and
Oh,
so but now the younger people that's finding out, because a lot of the people that moved away didn't talk about their native heritage.
you wouldn't dare.
And so they didn't tell their kids. And now the kids have found it out somehow, and then they contact us or contact the center, and they want to come back. And so a lot of them can't come back because of their jobs and stuff like that, but they can
Well,
still
yeah,
join, and
right.
they contribute, money, but to help with expenses and stuff. As
Yeah,
long as
She said in maybe Sault Ste. Marie or something in Canada there's a bunch
Mhm.
that she's going to hunt down that travel there instead of being persecuted or
Right.
removed or whatever.
Yeah, the girl that came down here, we found out was related to us. She's with the Oneida tribe. And,
Oh, okay,
she
yeah,
married
up-
into the Oneida
upstate New
tribe.
York.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm.
This
Couple of them.
DNA really, you start finding out you're related, to unbelievable
She
people.
she was ecstatic when she found it that she was down here and actually in her homeland, and she never knew it. And her parents never told her about it. And something happened that she found something that told her that she referred her back to Virginia for some reason. So
Ah,
when the drum group was asked to come to drum, it was just ironic that she happened to be part of the drum group.
oh man,
So,
coming back home and
Yeah.
didn't know it.
so when she got here, and she was just, she was all over herself.
Wow. Thank you very much.
Thank you.